Good evening, everyone. We're going to get started here in just a few moments. I'm going to give everybody a chance to get in and get settled, and then we're going to begin our session. I want to welcome you to our Master of Arts in Live Entertainment information session. We are going to cover a lot of content and ultimately hope this will help you determine if our program is going to be a good fit for you. My name is Rashonda Butler. I am one of the student advocates here at the University of Miami Online Division. If you should decide and are accepted into the program, I will work with you closely during your first year of class to get you acclimated to the online environment. We do have a lot of content to cover here tonight and hope that you will find this information useful. Before we get started, we do have a few housekeeping items, okay? So number one, this information session is going to be approximately 45 minutes. If for any reason you need to head out or if you're coming in late, don't worry, you're going to get a copy of this recording after this session. It will be emailed to you later on in the week. Again, we're going to cover a lot of content tonight with regards to the courses that you'll be taking, the structure. You're going to hear from our faculty within the program as well. We want to make sure that this session is specifically geared to you. So if there's a specific question that you have for these panelists, you will see a Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen. So please feel free to utilize that. Also, we would love to cover any questions that you have, but we do ask that we utilize this time as efficiently as possible. So try to make sure that these questions are geared toward the content and structure of the program. Tonight, we do have with us Andrea Jimenez, which I'm going to have her to go ahead and take over.
Thank you, Rashonda. Appreciate you always. Thank you, everyone, for being here with us. As Rashonda said, we are very honored that you're sharing your time with us here so you can get to know a little bit more about our program. We have some amazing folks with us. Our program director, Gary Wood, and Ray Sanchez will be joining us very, very soon. And we have one of our amazing students, Jordan, who will be graduating this spring. So she is going to be answering the questions from the perspective of the student, which is super valuable to you all. So without further ado, I will let Gary and Jordan introduce themselves first, and then we will get started with some questions. Gary, can I please ask you, give us your background? Let's talk to the people about who you are and what you do with the program.
Wonderful. Well, I'm the program director, and I'm the primary instructor, although I'm very fortunate to have many colleagues who help me out with courses as well. So it's a great team that does this work. But I came to Miami a little over 10 years ago, and I've known Miami for a long, long time for many professional and personal reasons. And I was so excited to get here because Miami is sort of, to me, a remarkable place for arts activities. And that fact influences a lot of the content of the courses. So it doesn't matter where you are. I've had students all over the world, but you're going to get a little bit of Miami as you go along. But I love it here. But I've worked in many different places around the country in a variety of different roles in live entertainment. And I'm really, really excited and thrilled to share that with you and with all the students who go through the program. And Jordan has been a really amazing student who always creates the highest quality of work, very impressive young professional, very typical to the program. And I'll turn it over to Jordan to go ahead and introduce herself as well.
Thank you so much. So my name is Jordan Vieira. Originally, I'm from Chicago, Illinois, moved down to Miami during my undergrad years where I got my bachelor's in English and sports administration. And it was during that time with that I realized my strong love and desire to work in live entertainment. So once I found out about this program, I was like, this is ideal for me. I love sports. I love live entertainment. While I was here during my undergrad years, I got to work in live sports with athletics. So I just felt like this was the perfect fit. And since then, it has been every class of this program has been amazing. The professors are great. So I'm just really excited to be here tonight to share my experience with you all and answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you both so much. And we'll let Ray trickle in as soon as and when he does, we'll give him his space to introduce himself. But without further ado, let's jump into some questions. And Jordan, you raised a really, really good one that's going to allow me to segue into that topic here. And it's going to be for Gary. So Gary, Jordan mentioned her love and passion for the sports industry, and we know that the entertainment industry overall is so diverse, and it has so many, it's very interdisciplinary. So can we speak a little to that? Speak a little to the folks that they have a passion for music, but then also they like the sports element of what is in live entertainment, and how our curriculum really speaks to anyone, and who anyone that may be interested in any area of the live entertainment industry, if you will.
Yeah, well, you're absolutely right, Andrea. And the live entertainment, of course, is a huge umbrella. Almost everything we do covers live entertainment. So it's very broad. And that's the good news, because when you come into this course, you get sort of the best practices and in all the key areas of what it means in terms of high level management and leadership. But at the same time, when students have a particular interest, we can focus that interest as well, even within courses. So it's very broad, but yet it again can be very specific to the needs and desires of the students that are in it. I've had students in many different areas, too many to mention in terms of all the different subcategories of live entertainment management. And I'm very thankful that I've been connected to so many different areas of live entertainment, including sports, but I've been including in so much in all of that. But again, so have my colleagues. So again, it's broad best practices and leadership, but then we can look at some specific things related to a student's particular area of interest. And I see my colleague,
Yeah.
a very precious colleague of mine, Professor Sanchez, is here, and maybe he wants to introduce himself and say hello.
Hi, can you all hear me? My mic working?
Yep.
Sounds
Okay,
great, Ray. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Sorry I'm late, but as often happens in the live entertainment world, there was troubleshooting that needed to happen. I'm part of a big presentation that's happening this weekend in our brand new Knight Center for Music Innovation. And so I was stuck over there making sure stuff worked. But hi, I'm Ray Sanchez. I'm a professor of music industry. I teach the copyright class. I also teach the music entrepreneurship class, and I've been a music industry professional since college. In fact, teaching is my second go around in careers. For the first 20 plus years or so, I was full-time, self-employed musician, producer, musical director, songwriter, arranger, fill in the blanks, on and on and on. I had to learn everything about everything in order to move forward in our business. But I got to have some amazing experiences, particularly, well, both on the studio and recording side of things, and also on the live side. I've played some of the biggest venues in the world, worked with some enormous artists, toured all over the place. And in my 40s, pivoted to a more stable lifestyle. When kids were growing up, it was just decisions you make in life, and I couldn't be happier doing what I do now. But I'm still very much engaged in the industry. I still have my production company, so this is the case for basically all of our professors here. There are people that are doing things on a pretty regular basis. Professor Wood is running his own series. He's involved in management. He's doing all kinds of things. Welcome, and look forward to hearing any questions from you all. Our degree programs at the Frost School are real world. We started music industry education back in the 1960s. And our live entertainment management is a logical evolution of that. Live music alone is, coming back with a vengeance. Pre-pandemic, it was over $50 billion a year industry in the US alone. And there's no reason it's not getting back to those levels, and even more. It's an industry that will not be impacted negatively, if anything positively, by AI. Unlike other areas, You still need people on stage. You still need people putting things together. You still need people deciding programming. So those are just some of my thoughts.
Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Ray. Appreciate you, and thank you for being here. Jordan, let me pick your brain a bit because you did bring up the passion that you have as it pertains to live entertainment, but specifically within the sports realm. But then you also have that passion for music and in terms of how that intersects with the industry. Tell us a little bit about you mentioned the courses that you've taken and how they have been beneficial. Let's get a little bit more granular. Is there any projects, anything that you can recall that really truly did help you in terms of just the skill building that will be needed for when you go directly into the industry, whether it be music or the intersection between music and sports entertainment? Can you speak a little bit to that? Any highlights about assignments, projects that you know those skills you built you're going to transfer them directly into what you're getting into next?
Yes, of course. So actually, if I could just dive in a little deeper in my current role, I'm not in sports yet. I'm slowly transitioning, but as of right now, I work in IP. So a lot of my work has to do with intellectual property, trademark, copyright. So once I started this program and I took the copyright class and learned more about what goes on behind the scenes of copyright, it made my current job so much more easier because I had never been exposed to all those different things before until I got to this program. So now when I go into my firm and I say, oh, guys, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm talking about. This is what we need to do. This is how we need to trace the ownership and how to move about and how we can transfer ownership, things like that. You know, my current employers were very impressed because they're like, I thought you were in live entertainment, man. You know, what do you know about copyright and trademark? I'm like, I'm actually learning about it, even though this is a music and live entertainment program. The skills are transferable in so many different fields, like IP, where I am now.
I appreciate that, Jordan. Thank you for bringing up that point. And Ray, can you speak a little bit to what Jordan just mentioned? She brought up a great point in that, like our curriculum and what we have going on here, it is just, we intentionally have it set up so that it's very much focused on live entertainment, but there's other areas that are so important in order for student to go out and build and really make a name for themselves. And we want to give them that knowledge here so they can apply it in real life. Can you speak a little bit to the curriculum?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And in fact, this kind of points to the legacy of our program because in the founding of the music industry program back in the 1960s, it was really focused on rights administration because the focus was on things that we knew weren't going to change one day to the next. You know, business models can change one day to the next, but there are some things that are constants in our business. And the modern music business is strongly built around rights. I mean, songwriters, publishers, producers, artists, copyright is their lifeblood. So even though this is a live entertainment management program, you better know something about how intellectual property works. You're not going to survive in our business. And copyright is at the core of it. And then there are related things that, like trademark, I'll tell you an area that's becoming really important now is privacy rights, name, image, and likeness. This is enormous because of the impact that AI is going to have on this. Now that Freddie Mercury's back on the road, even though he hasn't been with us for a number of decades, these kind of things are important to understand. So our curriculum, like I said, is real world all the way around. Designed that way intentionally by professionals that are connected to the industry and are very active in the industry. And the other part is that our curriculum evolves. You've heard me mention AI a couple times here. This past year, we hired one of the top music AI experts in the world into our music engineering program, which is an on-campus program. But the impact of that hire affects everything. So because it's an area that is going to be a very important part of our business for more than the foreseeable future. So our students better start getting exposed to things like that. So I like to say that our program is kind of dynamic and living from a curricular perspective,
Right.
and we're constantly looking at it from that lens. We're not just sitting back, oh yeah, I taught it the same way for the 20 some odd years. I've been teaching copyright over 20 years, and it has absolutely changed over that time.
Thank you, Ray. I appreciate that. Gary, do you have any thoughts to shed on that, on that point, in terms of our curriculum and
Yeah.
how it truly is interdisciplinary? And go ahead.
Yeah, I think that one of the exciting things of coming to the University of Miami was that I was not interested in sort of the more traditional, what we call arts administration degrees, because it really talks so much about what's going on in the past, although that's important and interesting, but we don't really have the energy towards that. Everything is front edge here. Everything, I mean, you look at all the things that are happening just in Miami with festivals and all that. So I have to be on my toes every day for what's happening, what's new, what's changing, technology and music and all the different arts. So I love the fact that it is a front edge 2024 and beyond program that we believe, and I think the history is there, where our students get into the industry and they know what's happening, just as Jordan alluded to, because we're talking about what's happening today, what we perceive is happening tomorrow, and prepare our students for that. So my curriculum the content changes based on what's really happening in the industry. And so I'm constantly scouring everything I can to learn about what's really, really going on and what's the story, because I know my students are paying attention. I need to be paying attention. And it's just a very exciting place to be, very exciting attitude to have towards learning.
Thank you, Gary. I appreciate that.
You're
Jordan,
welcome.
thank you. Jordan, where you were in your, you talked a little bit about getting your bachelor's degree and saying, well, I need to go on to this next step. What was it? Why did you essentially make that choice to go ahead and pursue your graduate degree? And the fact that you pursued it online with us is even better. But what made you realize that I had to do this, right?
Well, for me, I knew that I wanted to get ahead, especially post-pandemic. I think so many people jumped on the opportunity to expand their education. So I wanted to do that as well. And I thought, what better way to do that with a program that I love so much, a school that has such a great legacy and community. And when I found out about this program and how flexible it was and how it was designed for someone that's working a full-time job and has a family and, all that just made it even better for me to say, okay, this is exactly where I need to be.
Love that, Jordan. Thank you so much for that. Ray and Gary, I'm going to come over to you just in terms of, so Jordan spoke on a really big point here in just the flexibility, but still our curriculum being very rigorous at the same time. So when we talk about our curriculum, but then overall, we understand that our people are working mostly full time. I have a life, personal and whatnot, and they have circumstances that we may need to support, right? Talk to us about that. Talk to us a little bit about the support that you each provide in your professorship course instructor role to our students so that we can accommodate them, because we know that they're living very real lives, but still we lead them to success. Ray, I'll start with you.
Yeah, that just an example of that just happened recently in my actually in my copyright class this session. Among the students is a person who is already actively involved in the live entertainment industry, and for the first exam for that class, well, on that day where the exam was scheduled, she was in the middle of a festival, and that she was working that day. So I accommodated her schedule-wise to take the exam at a time that fit her schedule and worked within the curriculum. It's the kind of it's a small thing, but it's the kind of thing. But it matters, and it's the kind of thing that we anticipate that people are working and they have lives. Now, we don't. She came to us and, spoke out and said, "Hey, I have the situation, whatnot." But and it's not that you could get a flexible exam dates on just anything, but we're very conscious of the fact that our students are working professionals for the most part, whether a number of them already in music and entertainment, but regardless of wherever they're working, it's the whole purpose of online is flexibility, and within reason, and within the constraints
Right.
of a 7-week session,
Yeah.
right? So everything has to happen. So that's really important to know that yes, it's flexible, but it's not open-ended.
Sure.
So we can work within those constraints, and all faculty, I can speak pretty much for all faculty, we're very sensitive to that, and we'll work with students. But, also students got to do their part and get the work done.
Of course. Gary, anything to add?
Well, Ray articulated that very well, but I would say that while there is a great deal of a sense of independent study, you get this, the module opens up, all of this stuff sort of comes
Yeah.
flowing out for you to cover, but it's really up to how you are going to squeeze that into your day and your week. But we're always available. And I think I can speak for my colleagues because we're not hiding off someplace and just letting it run on its own. We're constantly monitoring what's happening on an individual basis and what's happening to the group of students to make sure that everything is flowing the way that it's supposed to flow. And if there's any questions or any needs, we do our best to respond as quickly as possible. We do some live sessions. We try to make it as vibrant as possible. And part of that, I think Ray would agree, would be that part of it's kind of a nudge to make sure that students don't let too much time go by before they get on to that next reading or whatever it is. But it also is a two-way street. And students like Jordan, who are constantly doing great work, kept me moving too. So it does have a really good teamwork, but I'll say that I love the balance between that independent study. You do it when you need to do it. You're on your own to the extent you need to be, but we're there to back you up to keep it moving as well. And I think that balance has been working, from what I can tell, seems to be working really well.
Yeah, it works pretty well. And let me just add one last thing here is if you are seriously considering being in this business, particularly live entertainment side of the business, it's fast paced and things can change on a dime.
Right.
So in some ways, the pacing of our program prepares you for that. Even more so, in my opinion, than on campus, which is 15 weeks drawn out. That's not real world. Real world is, oh, we have to do this and it's due next week or whatever. So it is in some ways prepares you mentally for that situation.
Thank you both so much for that. And Jordan, I'll come to you because you can call us out here and just tell us, hey, is it true, right? We have 2 7-week sessions within one semester, and you're doing one class in one session and one class in another. Talk to us about your experience with that sequencing, with that flow, I should say, of going to school online and getting your graduate degree. How did you feel about it? Were we accommodating? Let's hear it from you.
Yes, for me, extremely accommodating. The design of the program itself fit my schedule perfectly. Anytime that, maybe like our professors were saying, things happen, especially when you're working and you have last minute emergencies, assignments. Anytime something has come up, I've always been accommodated, as far as live sessions go. With Professor Wood, he's always there to answer every question we have. There's been times where it's just been me and another student and him where we're going through like every single idea we've ever had for the class, and he's patient, he listens to us, and he encourages us. So the design, the connection, the availability of the professors, 10 out of 10 across the board in my experience.
Thank you, Jordan. We appreciate that. I'm going to stick with you, Jordan, really quick, just so we can talk about how you've been able to manage your time with going to school online, because you also work full time, and that's a skill. So how have you been able on your end to manage it? Is there a tip, like a pro tip, if you will, that you would give anyone out there looking to go into grad school, whether it's in person, excuse me, or online in particular, in this case, any pro tips that you would have and what has worked for you?
For me, I would say definitely scheduling. Would use your syllabus. The
Mhm.
syllabus is there for you to map out your entire class 7 weeks. So use it to your full advantage. So that way you get a calendar, you can schedule things out. You know when your test is coming and assignments are due. And then communication is really important too, because like we've been discussing, if you are working full time, if you are already in a high paced work environment, such as live entertainment, there's going to be things that pop up and the professors will accommodate you, but you have to communicate that. You can't wait until week 7 to say, by the way, I missed the quiz in week 2, but if you say, oh my goodness, I just saw this, I know this is happening, can we please talk about it? They're always there to help you figure it out and to adjust things to fit your schedule as well.
Thank you, Jordan. Truly appreciate that. Ray and Gary, any insights in terms of what Jordan was speaking on now? Like what do those skills look like in terms of pro tips, right? Like what will make us how can a student succeed with going to school online? We offer as much support as we can. Jordan hit a great point. You got to communicate. That's one thing that we're big on here. Let us know, and we are gonna go above and beyond to make sure that you're okay. But anything that you have seen, are most of our students, the majority, just be successful in our programs because they do this.
Well,
Right?
I'll jump in quickly to say that, because it is 7 weeks and because a lot is happening in that time and we all have other things going on, I have to put into my calendar a unique looking outline that says this is where all of the online things fit into my calendar with special kinds of reminders and so forth. And I noticed that uh, a lot of the students who are successful are actually reminding me of the schedule because they're on top of what the syllabus and the calendar is telling them, and they just incorporate it right away. Because if you turn it off, you put it out of sight, out of mind, you know what's going to happen, and then students scramble to get caught up. But the vast majority will get the calendar, get the syllabus and calendar, and put it in their schedule. And it's really, once you see it, I know from my own experience, once you see it and it's laid out, it's not so bad, it's not so scary, it's not so overwhelming. But when you don't really look at it and you're worried, then it can feel like, oh my God, I don't know if I can do this. So the more clarity, the more confidence I've seen in my students, and I would imagine that may be similar to what Ray's seen too.
Yeah, I agree with that. 7 weeks flies by very quickly. That's the good news. That's also the bad news. Um, if the students that are staying on top of each module, in fact, I'll take it a step further, maybe even looking ahead, because we don't parse things out week by week. In my case, my course is open from day one all the way to the end. I mean, you could conceivably try to cram in as much as you can in the first week or two. No problem. Uh, you might be lost in some things, but I encourage people to look forward and look ahead as they're going along. But yeah, just staying on top of the schedule. It is very cyclical. There's a routine. Things are due typically at the same time every week, usually by the end of the week, the end of that module week. And the other thing is try to engage in any face-to-face situations with your professors. Different professors do it different ways. Some have just open office hours at a certain time every week, and you can just pop in and chat. In my case, I do basically a discussion session every week. And that's recorded so that, I've never had the entire class on, but I always get, a good number. There's always a solid group of people in there, and we record it and put it on the site so that, again, later, I usually do them on Wednesday nights so that you still have time during the module to take a look at it. So, that type of thing. But it's really what you're putting into it. This is an important commitment if you choose to do it. But it's so much of it is what you put into it is what you're going to get out of it.
Thank you so much, both of you. So when we talk about the graduates that have graduated from our live entertainment program, what are some of the different pathways within live entertainment? We already talked about how diverse it is and how interdisciplinary, I should say, the live entertainment industry is. So what pathways have you seen them take, and truly this degree program supported them into moving into that pathway as we know it within the live entertainment industry, and the industry is only growing, right? So Gary, can I start with you? Any pathways to give people ideas as to what roles and positions, and just so much that's out there?
Well, one thing I've noticed that is happening, which is exciting, is the fact that the graduates who really go into the industry and are looking for that work, they often will start out with a really solid job. It may not be at the top of the food chain, it may be lower in the food chain, but what I've noticed is how they, because of the diligence they show, and I think the training and their personalities, all the ingredients, I see them climbing the ladder. A couple that come to mind is a wonderful graduate from back in 2017. She's now the company manager for the Miami City Ballet, and she worked her way up through a lot of different areas in arts management leadership. And that's one of the finest ballet companies in the world. And now she's company manager, right? And we have another graduate who got into, she really loved the marketing and promotion side. And she's been moving up the ladder for several years at the Los Angeles Philharmonic. She's now the associate marketing director for one of the great orchestras in all the world, and so forth. And so, but I can't say that they necessarily follow in any single path. If you were to look at all the different graduates, many are running their own company, their own production company, their own live entertainment company, and many are running their own arts management company where they're managing artists. So it really runs across the gamut. But I think the singular thing is people in our graduates seem to find an opportunity for leadership as they move through the years and up the ladder, which is very, very exciting.
Of course, 100%. Ray, any insights, any thoughts you may have to that in terms of paths and how interdisciplinary it is, but what you've noticed?
Yeah, I mean, I've noticed very important that people going into pretty diverse areas of music and live music and entertainment, and even people moving into areas such as even tangential areas, like deciding to go into the legal side of things because they got really turned on with the legal courses. That's happened, but no, I mean, Gary's said it perfectly. Our programs go back a long way. We have alums in pretty much every corner of the music industry.
Yeah.
So
Thank you. We appreciate that. Jordan, talk to us a little. We're going to wrap up here very soon, being mindful of time. Jordan, talk to us a little bit about, because that's something that isn't highlighted, but we have a very, very innovative and cool marketing course that's a part of the live entertainment core curriculum. And marketing is huge. We know it's only blowing up more and more and more. And there's so many divisions just within what is the marketing industry. Can you talk to us a little bit about the course, what you learned, and how have you been able to apply it, and how you plan to apply it moving forward, just because marketing is just everything and it's constantly evolving. So how has that kept up with you, and how did you find that course in particular?
I loved it. For me, especially because during my undergrad years, like I mentioned before, I was in sports administration, and a big focus of that was marketing. So to come into this program and to kind of pick up where I left off, even though this is not a specific sports program, I still had that connection. I was still learning things that, I was discussing before, but this time I was able to learn about marketing at a deeper level because we were able to sit and actually discuss it more and go over important topics and trends that are coming up. A big part of this program is that it's not just focused on past. It's all about innovation and forward thinking. So we are able to discuss a lot of current topics, post pandemic. How does that look in live entertainment, in marketing? How can we market using AI and all these different types of new mediums coming forward? So for me, it's been great because I've been exposed to so many different things where I haven't seen that in other programs. They are very focused on the traditional methods of marketing, which is great. But it's nice to move with the times as well. So to experience that firsthand and to be able to apply it in real world has been really beneficial for me specifically because I'm so interested in, all those different elements of the live entertainment world.
Jordan, thank you for that. Appreciate it. So wrapping up here, Gary, Ray, we'll start with you, and then Jordan will end off with you. Why us? Why our program? Why should someone choose our program? Gary, can we start with you as the program director?
Well, I'm going to steal Ray's answer because one of the things always Ray talks about is the fact that our faculty are people who have a rich history of what's happened in the industry over time, but they don't live in the past. They live with today. I see my colleagues every day fully engaged in what's happening in 2024 with the eyes on tomorrow. And so again, we're not resting on something that occurred, although that's interesting, but we want to make something happen today. And so the University of Miami and the Frost School of Music and Ray, because he's so much at the front edge of innovation, it's all about what's happening today. And that's where we want to meet our students because they're living that life. They're confronting it. We want to be there with them. And so I do know that absolutely sets our program apart because when I constantly am looking what others are doing, no one else talks that way. No one.
Thank you, Gary. Ray?
Yeah. Well, he said a lot of
Your
what I was
answer.
going to say, but that's all right. Why us? We're really good, not because I'm saying it, but because others have said that over and over again. And but it doesn't matter what we say. The real proof is what our students are doing and how engaged our alums are in with us. Like I said, we go back a long way. We started music industry education. That's no small thing. And we have amazing faculty that really know what they're doing, and you'd be part of this. I hate to use this word in this way, but family, and that's a real thing. When you go somewhere, I mean, just the other day I was talking with a colleague who lives in Nashville, and he says, there are all these Frost people in Nashville, and from different generations, and a lot of them kind of, they know each other based on when they were in school, but we're doing more now to connect all of these dots, and but anywhere you go, there's going to be someone from Frost in the music industry, and that the value of that alone is pretty high.
Ray, thank you for that point. And Jordan, I'm going to end off with you, but you made a great point about Nashville. One, but pretty much the soon-to-be president of the Nashville chapter of the University of Miami's Alumni Association. She's over in Nashville, and she happens to be live entertainment online graduate, Amelia.
Awesome.
So, I mean,
Yeah, Amelia, yeah.
the other day, fantastic.
Phenomenal.
But you hit the nail on the head there. Jordan, I'll end with you. Why Frost School? Why Frost Online? Why University of Miami? Why us? Tell the people, they want to hear it.
I would say the community, the support, the exposure. The program itself is so diverse, and you're going to learn so many different things, no matter what your passion is. If you are a musician, if you want to manage musicians, if you want to be in sports, we have an entire week where we discuss, managing museums. So there's so many different things that you will learn in this program that you will be able to apply in so many different aspects of the art world. It's truly amazing. I haven't seen another program design like this, and then the exposure and community and support afterwards, for job opportunities, internships. I can speak on that, where you yourself have helped me, letters of recommendation, and getting those job opportunities, getting those interviews. I've been exposed to so many different areas from this program, from music festivals to the MBA. So when they see Frost on your application, it is a big deal. So if you want that support, the community, the exposure, the opportunity, then this is the school for you.
Jordan, my God, thank you. We appreciate you. I mean, we're doing something right, but we got to keep going. So again, your feedback is amazing. Thank you for that. Gary, Ray, thank you for being here.
Thank
Rashawn,
you.
take us out.
All right. Thank you again, Professor Wood, Professor Sanchez, Andrea, and Jordan. We appreciate that. That was a lot of great information. Also, to the audience, we'd also like to thank you for joining us this evening. We are currently accepting applications for our summer 2024 term. We are currently offering a great incentive. If you apply by March 11th, you are going to receive a 50% tuition waiver. Okay, that's awesome. Also, you'll receive a $300 deposit waiver. You can speak with an enrollment advisor at any time. Our number is 1-800-411-2290. Please go ahead and start your application. And again, thank you for joining us tonight. Bye-bye.